So you want to talk about gender? No, I'm just kidding. It does not have to be that scary. Although it can be a delicate subject for many people struggling with gender identity and expression, the most harmful thing you can do is inflict shame upon a student or client or a child or teen that expresses discomfort or dysphoria with the gender assigned to them at birth. The last thing you want to do is make a huge deal. We are welcoming a new understanding of gender and the way it has been interpreted for many years. This gives the youth today the opportunity to explore outside of the binary. While the opportunity is good, this can also be accompanied by an overwhelming sense of anxiety, confusion, and maybe even shame. The last thing you want to do for a developing child or person is silence their inner exploration of who they are. I want to be super clear. This will not be an educational chat leading you to a better understanding of gender and sexuality. I'm not going to do that. There are so many resources available that I will personally incorporate with the distribution of this video that can better help you understand our ever-evolving society as it pertains to gender and the queer community in general. I'm here today to chat with you from the perspective of a therapist, a genderqueer therapist, a therapist who specializes in working with those who are a part of the queer community. Oh yeah, so who am I? Well, my name is Kayla Jones, and my pronouns are she and they. And I'm an associate licensed clinical mental health therapist based at a private practice in Charlotte, North Carolina. You may have heard of it, Sun Counseling and Wellness. Oh, you haven't heard of it? Well, now you have, and you should totally check us out. We have so many clinicians on our staff that specialize in a wide variety of areas. Being a genderqueer person myself and working with so many who fall on the spectrum of genderqueer, I've noticed that our presence can make others feel threatened or maybe confused or even scared. Some people don't know how to talk about it or even know if they should talk about it. Here is your invitation to start talking about it. With your students, with your children, with your colleagues, just talk about it. The more we talk about gender or queerness, the less daunting it becomes. It's time to get comfy with the discomfort. You may be thinking, Kayla, there's been an influx of students who come into my classroom expressing that they have different pronouns than maybe they had last year, or they don't have a gender, or maybe they encompass multiple genders, or they say they're transgender or gender fluid or gender queer. There may be students asking if you can even explain what all of that means. Okay, take a deep breath. In my experience, a child shall lead the way. Even being a part of the queer community, I learned so much from my clients every single day. So my advice is to shush up and just listen. If you're asked a question you don't feel equipped to answer, it's okay to say, that's such a good question, and I'm so glad you felt comfortable coming to me, but I don't really have the answer right now. So how about we do this? We could take a bit of time, do some research together, or I can see if a school counselor may be able to better answer your question. How about that? I mean, simple enough, right? No judgment, no fake news, no going against what you may personally believe in or trying to preach what you think they should believe. Just a conversation. Empathy will get you a long way with our youth. While you may not understand their exact struggle or why they present more masculine one day and more feminine the next, or why they're expressing they want to be called they and them, you can relate to a time where you were a kid trying to figure out this big thing we call life. There's so much to learn, so many choices to be made. I want to major in this, but my parents want me to do this. I want to go to this university, but my parents want me to go to this university. I just got in trouble, but I don't even know what I did wrong. All these scenarios can bring about feelings of being scared, confused, anxious, not knowing what the end result will be if I decide to be true to myself and go against what society may be teaching me. Or stay in a box, fearful of disappointing the people I love or maybe admire. We can all relate to having those feelings at some point in our lives. So pull from that. Draw on that emotional experience and sit in that space with your student, client, or child. Maybe say, man, I have never experienced what you are going through right now, but I have experienced something similar, and it felt like fill in the blank here. Maybe you have students, clients, or children asking questions about pronouns or gender. Like I mentioned before, you don't have to have all the answers. Do I advise you start to educate yourself now by maybe checking out some of the literature I provided or literature flooding the internet? Yes, please do. The more knowledge you can suck up, the better you're going to be able to serve your students, your client, your children. But it can feel impossible to know everything. Well, because it is impossible. So don't pretend. Research together. Get your youth the support they deserve. Therapy, an ally, a book. How can you talk about gender and pronouns in your classroom? Just start talking. Like I said before, let your students know you aren't ancient like they think you are, and know at least that the conversation around gender is changing and that your classroom is a safe space to have those kinds of conversations and discussions. I have a friend who happens to be queer, who also happens to be a teacher. He provides a survey to all of his students at the beginning of the school year that asks a wide variety of questions pertaining to the students' interests, hobbies, favorite subjects, least favorite subjects, and yes, preferred pronouns, preferred name even. He also goes so far as to ask, would you like to be referred to these pronouns in my classroom? Can I refer to you as these pronouns outside of my classroom? Like maybe with family or other teachers? Would you like to have a private conversation with me about any concerns you may have as you move throughout the school year? For some youth, home may not feel like a safe space for them to express who they truly are. It may not be out yet. The last thing you want to do is call home and refer to them as she, he, or they, outing them to their family or other students in the school if they're not quite ready yet. Some students may come to school dressed one way and change it to something a little bit more affirming during the school day. If you are genuinely concerned about a student's well-being, encourage them to speak with the school counselor. Encourage the school counselor to pull them aside and have a little chat. There are many ways to express concern without calling a student out in front of the entire class. Which brings me to my next point. It is okay if you forget or mess up a student's pronouns, name, or even gender. I repeat, it's okay. All that matters is how you recover. But the worst thing you can do is make a big deal out of it, especially if other people are around. For example, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I mean she, I mean he, I mean they, If you can breathe, take a moment. Simply correct yourself in the moment and continue on with the conversation. That can go a long way. If you want to pull a student aside after the class or go up to them during independent work and apologize, by all means do so. Just say, hey, I realized I misgendered you back then, or I misspoke in some way, and I wanted to say I'm sorry. Sometimes I get a little bit of brain fog, or sometimes I just kind of forget because this is all kind of new to me, but I promise you I am working really hard, and I want you to feel seen and heard. Let me know if there's anything I can do to make you feel more affirmed in my classroom. Boom. It's done. You left the door open, and if they want to chat with you, they will. No kid wants to be treated super different than anyone else. So don't dance around it. Don't try to make it super obvious that you are woke. Just be cool, dude. Talk to them like you would any other student, client, or child. I'll say this again. You do not have to understand the way someone else lives their life. All you're expected to do is be respectful and always remain curious. I believe in you. The fact that you're even watching this tells me you are willing to learn and better support your students, your clients, or even your children. If you have more questions, because I can't necessarily cover everything in this short little video, feel free to email me at kayla@suncounselingandwellness.com. I am willing to send resources or share my own personal journey to gender euphoria and freedom. Take care.